Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. I want to say hello to a couple new members of the week, Lewis. Very, very exciting to have our first member from Japan, Craig Scantlin. That's fantastic.
Nice.
And Craig, not affected by the Fukushima disaster as far as I know. But if I'm wrong about that, Craig, please send us an email. As well as David Becker. So welcome to both of you. Make sure to get your membership at davidpakman.com. And of course, your Amazon.com shopping, Lewis. It's incredible the number of listeners that are now supporting us simply by doing their Amazon.com shopping through the banner on davidpakman.com. Bookmark the link. Forget about it. Just use the bookmark when you do your Amazon.com shopping. You'll be helping to support the show.
Right.
It's fantastic stuff. You know, speaking of fantastic stuff, before we get to this week's Morality with Motamedy, friend of the show, Jay Tomlinson from Best of the Left podcast, had an interesting question for me as a result of all of the psychic stuff that went on, which is if David and Lewis were to meet today as opposed to 20 years ago, would we still become friends? And it's a pretty good question, and I've thought about this with a lot of the people we're friends with now. If I were to meet them now, I can assure you we would certainly not be friends, I think, if we were to meet today. I mean, for example, our friend who's involved with trains, you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
If either of us met him today, it's very hard to imagine we would become friends, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it's pretty fair to say.
Yeah.
Or with a number, I don't want to go into details here because we may start revealing a lot of people, but that's a fair question. You know, we met in a clay class when we were like 7 years old, and then we went to all the same schools. Mm-hmm. Heavy metal, out of control in many ways that we're not going to go into here. I don't know. What do you think?
It's too hard to say. I don't know.
It's difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking of your reaction when you meet someone for the first time. It's usually not a positive reaction, no matter what the circumstance.
Me personally?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true at all. I get along with everybody for the most part.
I don't know. Like if let's say you were hanging out with, I don't know.
Someone.
All right, you're hanging out with someone at a bar, right?
Okay.
And I'm wearing my Western Massacre shirt, right?
Right. Which is a local metal band that Lewis is a big fan of.
You know, I'm all disheveled. I'm intoxicated, which I am from time to time. And he introduces you to me.
Right.
Yeah. Are you telling me you wouldn't look at me and be like, who's this clown?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to, but vice versa. It's very hard to imagine if there was a 10-minute greeting, if Lewis and I didn't know each other and we were introduced by a mutual friend and it was like a 5-minute thing, it's not that clear that we would get along too well and really start talking. Yeah, if we stuck around for a couple of hours and got into some other topics, it's possible. I think Jay Tomlinson brings up a good question. I think it's a definite question. That it's a legitimate one.
Yeah, and interesting to ask yourself of anyone that you're friendly with, you know?
Well, if it's someone you've recently met, then I think you know the answer.
But in general, your old friends, you know.
All right, well, there we go. I guess not getting to a definite answer, but it's not looking too good, I think is what Lewis is telling us here.
I don't know.